So you just bought that brand new Vaquero and you're trying to figure out what you can do to add your own personal touch to it and do it yourself. I completely understand. I was in that same position 3 years ago when I purchased my Vaquero, and within 3 days after making the purchase, I had already installed new grips on my bike. Before the new mirrors, before the new handlebars, before the new wheel, it was the grips. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I installed my grips on my Kawasaki Vaquero. Just a note, this footage was taken about a year ago, and even before I recorded this video, I had already installed new grips. But I'm still going to take you guys back to the beginning and show you where I started, and then we'll take it to today. Here we go. If you're new here and you've never seen one of my mod videos, let me go ahead and drop a few disclaimers. Number one, I'm not an expert, nowhere near. Everything that you see me showing you in this video is something that I learned from myself through self-study, through watching Facebook groups, other YouTube videos, etc. With that being said, everything you hear me explain will be in layman's terms because I don't know the technical terminology. Number two, everything that I use in this video, the links will be down below. If you see something that you're interested in, just check the description. And lastly, if you have a helpful comment, something that you think might help somebody else who might come across this video, drop it down below. You never know who you might help. So without further ado, here is the mod. Here we are, March 2020, day 3 of me owning my new Vaquero and day 4 of quarantine. In this clip, you can see my stock grips are still on with the end cap already screwed off. I will say it was very difficult for me to get my stock grips off. I ended up using an X-Acto knife to cut off the rubber grip, and then I had to burn that plastic end off. From my research, it's something about reverse threading on the grips, yada yada yada. I didn't have the time. I was being very impatient, so I ended up using a lighter, melting that plastic end, and pulling that grip right off. I know, those $25 grips on Amazon looking real good to you right now. Nope, don't do it. This will be your end result. At least this was the end result for me. This was the first pair I bought. The second pair I bought, the rubber grip actually separated from the plastic inner core of the grip, and I had to use 𝗚6000 glue to put that thing back together. And it's been holding ever since. But I do have some 𝗟𝗯𝘁𝗁 grips on standby just in case that glue starts to dissolve and I have the same issue. We'll be ready to do this mod again. 4 screws have to be removed to get your install started. These screws are really soft and can be stripped very easily, so it's recommended that you use the screwdriver that actually came with your bike. 2 screws on the top, 1 screw on the back, and 1 screw on the bottom of this clamshell. The one on the bottom that you're seeing right now, it actually holds that metal piece that you see with the hole in the center. So when you remove that screw, it'll release that metal piece. Once those 4 screws have been removed, you can go ahead and pop open that clamshell, and the next step is going to be to start removing your throttle cables. Now this is a very delicate process, at least for me it was, because I didn't want to pop anything. But while you're twisting the grip, you want to simultaneously slip that throttle cable out. As you twist the grip, you'll feel the throttle cable loosening up and you'll be able to slip it right out. Like I said, buy at your own risk, but this is the second set of grips that I was talking about before, the ones that separated from that inner core. So they look great at the beginning, but over time the glue did start to break down and it started to wiggle a little bit. So I did use that 𝗚6000 glue to glue it back together. Yes, I did. And it's still kicking, but grips on standby. Grips are on standby. Now I'm putting it all back together, and this is the reverse of what I just did. So we're putting the throttle cables back into the clamshell, putting the clamshell back together, putting the 4 screws back in, and boom, you got some new grips. So this is just a side note for those who might want to change out grips but have new non-stock handlebars. There is a nub on that clamshell that must be dremelled down in order for that clamshell to close flush around your new bars. On the stock bars, you don't have to do that step. You don't have to dremel anything because there's a hole on the stock bar that nub actually fits into to lock it in place. But on new bars, such as mine, the JSR bars, that nub had to be dremelled down in order for me to get this back flush onto the bar. Let me just say that every time that I work on my mods, I take pictures at every step. So I know what screws I used, I know how everything looked before I did that step, and I know how to put it back together. Maybe even take a video or two. So I do recommend that you do that, especially if it's your first time working on a mod and you're not familiar with where things go. Over time, like removing your fairing or removing certain parts of your bike, you just know what things look like. But when you start, I do recommend taking pictures. Working on the clutch side grip, I decided to leave my grip that I had, and you'll see that the second one that I tried on there was a little loose. Now, a normal person would put some adhesive on the bar before they put the grip on, but I didn't use glue because number one, I didn't want to make that commitment, and number two, I don't feel the need to because you can see how snug that is on there. Well, at least the first grip. So this grip right here is loose, so I decided to just nix that one and keep the one I had. There was nothing wrong with that one. And there you have it, new grips. So until next time for the next ride, bye.